Which mine says Nairobi, Kenya.
Okay, hi. This is Ibrahim. You're looking here.
Oh,
Just look
okay.
here. Okay. Okay, so we went to Kenya. We got to, this is Eric. We got to go to Kenya. We got to see where Ibrahim lives. And now Ibrahim is here.
Do you want me to actually?
Yeah. Okay. Start over. Okay. You're going to look right. Okay. This is Ibrahim. Ibrahim is from Nairobi, Kenya. We got to go to Kenya a group of people from Student Life got to go to Kenya and shoot and document where he comes from in his life and this and this. And so now he has come to America to travel around with Student Life team and speak on behalf of Compassion and try to get as many kids sponsored as he can. Now, you have no idea how utterly polar opposites the worlds are of where Ibrahim grew up and where the kids who are on the other side of that door grew up. I mean, literally. Why don't you just talk about it? And what my question is this. Why is it hard and how is it hard to explain to kids from America what poverty is like? Okay, you can talk to the camera. Just talk to the camera.
Yeah. The most difficult thing to explain about how poverty is in Malaria, where I come from, is because the worlds are so apart. Whatever happens here, it's so different. So different. The housing, the roads, how little people live, what they eat.
Why is that difficult? Like, how come they can't understand it?
Yeah, they cannot understand it because it is just beyond imagination. It's just beyond what you can, sit and think about. You cannot do that because it's nothing you've never seen. Like I was telling you about kids playing in a sewer. Swimming there.
In the sewer?
In the sewer,
yeah.
And they call it that a river, and it's so dirty, and all the toilets are leading to that river, open
Right.
sewers. So explaining such a thing, open sewers with, human waste and such things.
Kids are playing
How
there.
do you explain that when you go to the bathroom here and you just flush every time?
Right. How do you?
So
Yeah.
it's.
There's no reference point.
Yeah, there's no reference point, and you just talk about that and they think, oh, that's gross.
Yeah, right.
But that's something you do every time.
Right.
And then look at here. You use the bathroom. The bathroom in Malaria, they're used by 2,000 people.
Mathari is
Yeah.
the neighborhood he comes from
Yes.
in Kenya.
Yes. In Malaria, the bathroom is used by 2,000 people, and it doesn't have water, so it's washed once a day. You see,
Who washes it? Just somebody?
There's a guy who gets paid at the end of the month. He gets $1 every month.
$1
$1 every
month
month, yeah.
to clean the bathroom
To
once
get
a
the
week.
bag. Yes. And it's so dirty. You have to look for somewhere to step on when you're going to use the bathroom. So how do you explain that?
Right.
How do you explain about so many small houses that are
Small. What are we talking? Small.
small, less than 10 by 10?
10 by 10. Smaller than a van, like a
Yeah.
15 passenger van.
Yes. How do you explain that every house like that at least have 5 people in it?
Yeah. 5 people.
Five
in,
people.
In
Yeah.
a room small, much smaller than a one-car garage.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yes.
So whenever I explain that, and the students ask me, how do they sleep? How do they lie on top of each other?
Right.
Some things you cannot explain because at night in Malaria people have to move away the things they have in the house to sleep.
Yeah.
And most of us sleep on the floor. So in the morning, you just take your stuff, whatever you're sleeping on, and put it in a corner, and it's a house again. And then at night everybody's lying down.
Well,
Right.
how would you begin to describe how dangerous it was? Because I mean, where I grew up, it wasn't dangerous at all.
Yeah. That's another thing that is so hard to explain to me here, because I'm just 24 years old, and in my entire life I've seen, with my own eyes, I've seen more than at least 100 people dead.
Dead,
Dead.
on the side of the road.
On the side of the road, killed. You find him bleeding there. No one is caring about that. People are busy with doing their stuff, and it's not a big deal. He dies there and stays for 2 days or 3 days before the police come to pick the body, to collect the body.
Oh, gosh.
You see, that's not a big. no explaining that.
You can't explain that.
And then how do you explain about young girls who get pregnant because they were trying to make some money and they did abortion, and because that's not a huge deal in Malaria, they just throw the kid into the river or just outside your door.
No,
Yeah?
You can't explain.
Yeah, you can.
Okay, so what do you hope? If we're talking about two different universes, what do you hope to convey to these kids when you speak to them?
I think what I want to convey to them is to bring out the picture, the real picture, which is so hard, but I want them to realize that the world is beyond where they live.
Yeah.
And that there's so much suffering, there's so much need across the world, and they can be tools for God. They can be used of God to reach out, to those who are hurting, to those who doesn't have hope, and those who cannot afford to take care of themselves.
Right.
That's what I want them to know.
Okay, and how can they do that? Like literally?
Yeah, literally, I know they can do that by maybe sponsoring a child, maybe through Compassion.
Right, which is what
you. Yes, I've been in Compassion for 16 years as a sponsored child. And that has changed my life now, because I've gone to school, I've got my education, I've learned about the Word of God, I've got my bachelor's, and now have my knowledge, which makes me different.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
I can't stress enough. I can't talk enough about Compassion. I don't know. I can't end this video. Say something else incredible.
Well, let me ask you something that I've heard you talk about before, which this video is getting too long. Sorry.
Yeah, no kidding.
We're at 7 minutes. But I've heard you talk about how these packets your picture was on a packet and somebody picked you up.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's all right. Go ahead.
One time the first time you got to be behind the table, show them the packets. Look, these are the packets. These are what packets. So that when you sponsor a kid with Compassion, you take one of these packets. But okay, so the first time you got to be at a concert where Compassion was being presented, and you're on the other side of the table, you've graduated, you've been all okay. So what was going through your mind when you were sitting there watching people come up to the table?
Okay, to be honest, the first thing, to be honest, I never knew that this is what happens for me to get a sponsor, or for any other child,
Yeah.
Because once you're across the world, you cannot figure out my world, how I live. At the same time, I cannot figure out how your world lives.
Right.
And how people stay and all that. So I didn't know that this is how you do find sponsors for the kids. So when I was standing there, I was thinking, oh God, what happens for a child to be sponsored here?
Yeah.
So someone has to come here and look at the packet and decide this is who I'm going to sponsor. And I was so moved with that, and I was trying to picture back 16 years ago when someone pulled up my packet and said I want to sponsor him. And I was trying to think, what did he look at? Did he look at my face, my smile or something like that? That's how I was trying to look at it. But I thank God that after so many years, after being chosen as one of the packets now, I'm no longer a packet. My life has been changed. I have a better life.
You're proof.
Yeah, I am proof that Compassion really works. And that's
So
a
what were you
testimony.
thinking? Like, then when people came up and people will grab these packets, we got to stop before 10 minutes.
Oh, it's 9:12.
Okay, so
You want me to stop it?
real quick. No. What were you thinking when people were looking at the packets?
Actually, what I was thinking is this. The first time I saw people coming for the packets, I thought, God, I just wish they can see what you're going to do through that packet in 10, 15 years' time.
Yeah.
That was my picture. If they can just see beyond the packet right now and see what God will do to the child if they chose to sponsor the child.
Yeah.
They're going to change their lives just like mine is changed so much. And not just changing my life, they're going to make that child have an impact in the world. And that's so amazing if they can see that. Anyway, I'm glad that I got the chance.
10 minutes.